Hi, how are you?
Buenas tardes.
Buenas tardes, ¿cómo están?
Noi stiamo bene. Come stai, Jaime? Tutto bene?
Tutto bene, tutto bene.
Perfetto.
Parli italiano?
No, tengo muchos amigos italianos, pero no hablo italiano, pero lo comprendo, es muy parecido al español, entonces
Bueno,
pues,
es parecido. Ajá.
Gracias por la tua presencia aquí en la Neuromarathon. Gracias por celebrar el neuromarketing hoy y todos los días, porque el neuromarketing es una pasión. Nos juntos trabajamos en el neuromarketing. Gracias por estar aquí. Gracias.
Thank you, Caterina. Thank you very much for the invitation. And Francesco, also thank you for inviting to this Neuromarathon, which is a very important initiative that let us interchange knowledge and experiences. And with neuroscientists and marketers and all these people. So thank you very much for the invitation.
Thank you. You can share your presentation and you can talk in Spanish and your languages. But
Do you
languages
want to speak in Spanish or in English?
As you prefer. You choose your language. For us, is the same.
How do I share? Just
you have a bottom down presentation or share in English. Just down. Okay.
Like so?
So now, yeah, ahead. This is your, okay, share screen.
Now, do you see the slides?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so, well, we'll start with, I'll try to do it in English. And as you know, Neuromarketing is our company name. And we are experts in applied neuroscience. And also we're interested in the decision-making process of shoppers and consumers. We are located in Mexico City, but we do also studies in Latin America and also in Europe. And one of the main things about our company is that we are based on an academic neuroscience laboratory. And what you are going to see, everything is developed inside our laboratory. That's the main area or the main part of our company is research. And so all the things that we're going to show are being developed in our laboratory. So this entrepreneur started really as a neuroscience laboratory for the study of the learning process in children and adolescents. I am also a neuroscientist and a medical doctor. I went to medicine in Mexico City, and then I went to UCLA to do research in neuroscience. And then I became a child neurologist. So this story for us in neuromarketing started really as a neuroscience laboratory for the study of learning processes in children and adolescents. And this happened in 2004. As I was telling you, I studied medicine in Mexico City. Then in the 70s, I had the opportunity to go to UCLA. And those were the times when neuroscientists were trying to discover the function of the brain. And I was part of them. What I did in those times were inserting electrodes in monkeys' brains in order to see where the short-term memory was located. I was at Joaquin Fuster's laboratory, and I'm sure you know Joaquin Fuster. And well, those were the initial times of research in neuroscience. When I came back to Mexico, I was also involved in technological development. So I invented a brain mapping system in 1982. It is a brain mapping system that now is being used in more than 120 laboratories around the world. And it's mainly used for clinical purposes, like to do epilepsy diagnosis or tumor diagnosis, etc. And those also were the times when computers starting being used to analyze brain waves and brain activity. And I was part of that. I talked with Frank Dufy and Reginald Bigford, who were the pioneers in analysis of brain waves using compressed spectral array and those kind of things. So in 1984, I became a child neurologist, and I opened up a clinic with psychologists and therapists, and etc., to treat learning disorders. So at present, we have treated more than 10,000 patients with all kinds of problems like learning disabled kids and epilepsies and autism and all those kinds of things. So in 1984, really, it was the time when I proposed to the National Council of Science and Technology in Mexico to open up a laboratory in order to understand better what happens in the brain when children are learning. And that's when I started the laboratory. And but that time, I made up a model because having a model is critical in every scientific activity. So because I was going to try to understand what happens in the brain when one is learning. And also my goal was to record with technology all the different aspects of the learning process. So that was the time when I made up this model, which now is very popular in neuromarketing. But at that time, what I tried to do is only to establish all the different processes that happen when information is coming through the senses. So the first part of the attention of the learning process is attention. And we know what structures in the brain now are involved in the attention process. And then information gets through the senses, which I call the sensory activation, meaning that each one of the senses have different pathways, but all of them pass through the thalamus, where a lot of information gets filtered, and then information goes through the limbic system and produces emotions. Once the information passes through the limbic system, it arrives to the cortex. And the cortex is where we produce the cognition. And cognition means the thinking processes. And in order to do cognition or to understand things, there are two main processes. One is the analysis, which is the effort that one does to understand things. And then is the synthesis. That is when we pack all the information and then we store it into memory. And there's the other step, which is the action regulator, which I call the action regulator, which really is the frontal cortex. This is the area where it's all the processes are being regulated. And this is the one that decides if I keep on paying attention or not. It's deciding what is going to store into memory, and also it's deciding what is going to become an action. So the thing that comes out, the output of the process. In humans, we are verbal, so we communicate through language, the verbal action. So, and then the final step is learning. So this was the model. And when I was doing this in 2004, the father of one of my patients said, "Hey, doctor, have you heard about neuromarketing?" I said, "No, I don't know anything about neuromarketing." And he said, "What you're doing in your laboratory has to do with this new thing that is happening in marketing." So here is when people started speaking about neuromarketing in 2004. And it was when I opened up my laboratory. And I realized very quickly that also my model had to do with buying and also with the decision process of humans. All these processes are involved in the decision making of humans. So this model has become popular in some places in the neuromarketing area. So that's the way I started trying to understand how this model could be used for marketing. Now it's called the Romano's Neuropyramid. And this has to do also with what Daniel Kahneman has discovered in the past years. He has talked about these two systems. System 1, which is fast and based on intuition and emotions, which is non-conscious, and which is involved in the 85% of the decision-making process in humans. And also the System 2, which is based on speaking, which is slow, based on asking, it's rational and conscious. So this is where my neuropyramid inserts in the marketing and in the neuromarketing area. Because the traditional marketing, the traditional tools in marketing, which are polls, interviews, and focus groups, are all based on asking people. So what they are discovering, or what they are trying to analyze, is what comes into consciousness. So it's the tip of my neuropyramid. And my neuropyramid explains exactly what is going on in the non-conscious. And each of these steps are one after the next in this order. So in order for the outside information to get into the brain and being processed, it has to follow all these steps in an orderly fashion. And each one of them feedbacks information to the previous ones. So if I'm saying something that makes you more emotional, then you're going to pay more attention to my words. If what I'm saying is of interest to you and it's understandable, then you're paying more attention. So each one of them, they have to happen in that order, and each one of them feedbacks the previous ones. So with this model is where we base all what we do. So we know now, neuroscientists, in the last years, we know which parts of the brain are involved in each one of the processes. So with this model, we have been developing all the technology that we use in neuromarketing with our customers, which I will show you later on. But as you can see here, there are some things that we do that other companies don't do. Or I should say, we do things in a different way that most of the other companies involved in neuromarketing do. What are some of them? Well, the first thing is that we do not measure emotions through the EEG. I think this is a mistake. If you see the literature, there are thousands of hundreds of papers trying to measure emotion through the EEG, and I think this is not correct. they have a very simple way of saying if the coherence, if the left brain is more active or the right brain is more active, then there are negative or positive emotions. I think this is a mistake. We measure emotions in the body because we know that the limbic system, the output of the limbic system is the pituitary gland. And then it produces changes in the body. So then we have developed different techniques through like sensors in the body in order to measure not only the intensity of the emotion, but the balance of the emotions. We don't have time now to discuss each one of these things. But another thing that you can see here is that we do not use facial expression, because facial expression is the output of the information. It's the tip of my neuropyramid. So we measure emotions, as I said, in the body. And with all this model, the neuropyramid, we have been developing ways of measuring each one of the steps, and then we combine some of the sensors, and also sometimes we combine with traditional ways of marketing techniques. So another difference of what we do is that the equipment that we use. We use state medical grade equipment. We don't use, unfortunately, in the neuromarketing field, up to now, there are companies who are selling equipment which is not precise. And people are buying equipment and they think that they're measuring EEG and they're measuring emotions and other things, but this is not correct. This is technology, very sophisticated technology. One has to know what's involved in EEG analysis because they are prone to artifacts. I don't have also the time, but believe me, I have seen in my life more than 20,000 EEGs, and I developed a brain mapping system, so I know about this. So you cannot use equipment which is not measuring really brainwaves. So we use, as I said, as you showed and as you saw, equipment that uses also the French aeronautics space information. We have had some awards and certifications, as you have seen here. We were one of the founders of the Neuromarketing Science and Business Association. We are registered at the National Council of Science and Technology, and we have won some prizes. One of the most important is the one that the European Union gave us in 2011. They gave us this prize in Hanover in March 2011 because of innovation in marketing. And we're very happy with this. I don't know if you know Philip Kotler, but he is the father of marketing, and he knows about our work, and he knew about the prize that we got. He sent me this email to congratulate because of this, and that made me know some of the pioneers in neuromarketing. So I met Martin Lindstrom, Philip Kotler, and many more of the pioneers in neuromarketing. And Philip Kotler was the one that told me to write a book about the neuropyramid because he thought that the neuropyramid could be the benchmark of the industry in neuromarketing. So these are some of our business partners. I'm sure that you see some of some known one. And the solutions, we have developed many solutions in different areas. In this talk, I cannot show you all of them, but I chose some of them in order for you to see how the neuropyramid and this technology is being used in the neuromarketing area. So we have some applications in product development, in branding, in post-execution, digital and print material design, user experience, communication, in politics and organizational. So I'm going to show you a few examples. In retail, we have developed a methodology that we call NeuroTrack, which is not only the eye tracking, because here you can see some differences between the conventional eye tracking, the one that many people use with the glasses that send a infrared to the retina, etc., in contrast to our technology. Some of the things, you know that when the eye is paying attention, it produces some microsaccades, very short movements that you see there, which are very short. Some of them are in the milliseconds, in milliseconds dimension. So people, most of the people are using the eye trackers. One of the limitations of the eye trackers is the sampling rate. The sampling rate of the best eye trackers are 120 samples per second. So with 120 pictures in 1 second, sometimes you lose some of these microsaccades. And also, when you calibrate these glasses, you calibrate them before, and if they move a little bit, then the calibration is lost. So we developed in my laboratory a way of doing eye tracking, but not using eye trackers, but placing electrodes outside of the orbit of the eye, because we know that the eye is a big dipole. So with placing electrodes around the eye, then we can measure exactly all these microsaccades, because we can go up to 8,122 samples per second if we want. We don't use that fast sampling rate because of memory problems, but we could go all the way there. So, and also they won't move. They are not prone to artifacts or anything. So with these techniques, we have done many things. I'm going to show you some right on site, what we're doing with in the shopper experience in the point of sale. So here you see a shopper that's coming into the store with all the placement of electrodes. We are looking at what he sees with his eyes, but he has also electrodes on the top of the head, because we are measuring attention there, and he has some electrodes on the body because we are also measuring emotions. So with those kinds of technology, then we can see like the shopper journey, because the equipment also that we use is made for ambulatory recordings, which others cannot do that. You can see here hit points on the shelves where that the shopper is looking at. And also we can use this technology to optimize the localization of products on the shelves. I'm going to show you one thing that we did for FEMSA. FEMSA in Mexico is one of the main distributors of Coca-Cola in Mexico. And Coca-Cola is being distributed in small stores. So using neuromarketing techniques, we help them to improve the localization of the shelves, the localization of the products, to make also to localize the ads in the store. We also help them to make the facades of the stores. And what you see here is the results that they made comparing the stores previously and then after what they being made with neuromarketing techniques. So here you can see that they increased the sales in 19.4%. So because of these techniques and all these results, now we are one of the main providers of technology, like to Coca-Cola. With Coca-Cola, we're doing studies in Mexico, Latin America, and other places. And also Coca-Cola allows me to show you what I'm going to show you next. This is a short video in order for you to see how this technique is being used with Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola wanted to know if the SSD's category planogram by manufacturer or flavor in the ale has better purchasing results. In order to know it, we got into the mind of the shopper through neuromarketing techniques and scientific methodology. Our goal, to know which planogram is more profitable for the company, which one makes the shopper purchase easier, and which one enhances the purchasing decision tree. So we built two supermarket tails, one with the current manufacturer distribution, and a second one with a flavor sequence planogram. We evaluated the effectiveness and visibility of Coca-Cola products at supermarkets. To make it happen, we divided the study in two phases. In the first phase, the objective was to find out the ale hotspots and effectiveness of the product placement by manufacturer and flavor. So we recruited 6 groups of 11 men and women of different socioeconomic levels and ages, from 25 to 45 years old. Our participants had to search 10 products through each planogram in order to recognize in which one of the two options was easier to find a specific product. Using NeuroTrack technology at this phase, we measured the brain effort and eye movements required for the visual exploration through the ale during the time they were searching for the product. In the second phase, the objective was to find out if the product distribution defined the purchase. We recruited 2 groups of 28 men and women of different socioeconomic levels from 25 to 45 years old. Using Neuromatrix technology, we evaluated the participants' initial purchase intention, presenting them photographs of the products. Then, we took them to the ale to choose a beverage of the category, so as to know if the product in the ale defined the purchase. And from now on, we'll keep working to implement the knowledge and learnings from this study to increase the Coca-Cola products at supermarkets.
Instruments that we use is different. And I'm going to show you other applications, like with digital information. We can measure adoption, engagement, happiness, retention, and task success. And we combine these hit points with the scanning of what people see in the telephones or whatever. In communication, where we do analysis of TV commercials, and we do second-by-second analysis, global efficiency, etc. And here you can see that we combine different steps of the neuropyramid. We combine, because in TV commercials, it's important to see which scene captures attention, which scene produces emotions, and which, when people are understanding, which is the cognitive part, understanding what you are trying to say, and also for the verbal conduct and action, sometimes we combine with, as said before, with traditional tools like interviews or focus groups or whatever. So we combine them, because with our technology, we measure the non-conscious part, and with traditional marketing, we go deeper on the whys, asking people. So that's when we use the traditional tools in marketing. So here you see like a animatic, and you are seeing second by second how the attention increases or decreases in yellow when there is a scene or moment that emotion goes up in red. And also the blue is showing
Pensada por ti y creada por Ford para que tengas la mayor seguridad, vayas a donde...
With this kind of information, then we can know which scenes are the best, which scenes are the less or has to be changed or whatever, and then they will impact the target. This is another tool that we have developed, and it's for analyzing the cognitive part. And I'm sure you have known, you have heard about the reaction time in order to analyze the implicit memory part. So we have developed an application that can be sent through the phones or computers, etc. And we can analyze perception and also the drivers to purchase, the purchase drivers. So you see here like 4 companies, and which is the imprint of the perceptual imprint in the brain of consumers. Like here, we see which is more value for the money, great dates, good promotions, different variety of packages, etc. This is the brand perception of different brands. And also you can do this before and after something happens, like after a commercial ad or a campaign. After a campaign, then you can see how is the change on the perception because of the campaign. And also we can know the drivers to the purchase intent, and not only know the concepts or the perceptual part, but also we can calculate which of these are the ones which are important for like the action drivers, the ones that will produce the buying decision. Also in the political field, we have done many things in Mexico and also in Latin America. And well, I don't think I have time to discuss all this, but we were in front page of the New York Times with all what we were doing. And also we were also in CNN. They interviewed me some years ago, and we also were seated in the front page of the New York Times. So, well, this is what I wanted to show you. This is our page, neuromarketing.org.mx. And, well, some of the things just to synthesize, and some of the things that I would like to keep here in this presentation is that the neuropyramid could be the model that can make all this, all the different areas to use the same model because it explains really what happens in the brain subsequently in the decision-making process. And when you use this model, as I showed you here, you can, or we have, what we have done is to develop all the algorithms, but knowing really which parts of the brain are involved in each one of these processes. So I think these are two of the things that we have given to the neuromarketing field. And so we are pioneers really applied neuroscience in the neuromarketing field. Another field which I am involved now is in neuroeducation, which is really my main thing because as I told you before, I'm a doctor. I have treated many kids with learning disabilities, and it started really as a laboratory to understand learning. And it made a detour, a big detour, because now I have a big company which is doing many interesting things. We have marketeers, we have psychologists, we have neuroscientists, and it's been a passion. It's been really interesting to see how this model of the neuropyramid has done all these new things in the neuromarketing area. And now I'm very involved in the neuroeducation field. And I'm treating my patients, still treating my patients. So
Thank you.
Thank you. Jaime, your presentation has been very deep of meaning, and I appreciate a lot the idea of the model, the basic model that you have developed in your career, and I agree that without model, any activity of the research doesn't work, because you can't follow the wind. And we have two technical questions from our public. So I give you exactly the first a technical question. So please try to reply directly to the audience. One is when you measure the activity of the eyes, you use we can imagine a sort of myography. Yeah,
no.
It's not this.
No.
Because the problem is how you can it's another things. So it's not a sort of myography.
No, it's not myography. We neurophysiologists know that the eye has two chambers, the frontal chamber and the outer chamber, and they have a difference in potential. They have a very big potential difference. So being the cornea more positive and more
negative,
positive, being the retina more negative, then there's a dipole. So a very, very big dipole, almost as big as the heart. So if you place electrodes here, you can see the orientation of this dipole inside the orbit of the eye. So that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
Not my
And another question, how do you work on artifact when you measure the movement of eyes and what is the object in front of you that you see? What happened to the artifact?
Sure. When you are measuring the eye, the dipole of the eye, all the artifacts are very, very easy to get rid of, because first of all, the frequency of the movement of the eye is very slow, and the frequency of the EMG is very high. So with the filter in frequencies, you do it. And also the potential of the eye is so big that if you can get rid of all the others. Really, the main problem of artifacts is when you're measuring EEG, because EEG is very prone to artifacts. So when I see that people are buying all this equipment and they put it here, they are measuring artifacts. They're not measuring EEG. So you have to know exactly how to place electrodes, how to lower the impedance, how to recognize all the artifacts, which is electromyography, it's the skin resistance, it's a lot of artifacts in EEG. That's one of the things that people are not doing, because most of the people that I see that they buy all this equipment, which is very fancy but not perfect, not precise, they are measuring garbage. So garbage in, garbage out, and they think that they're measuring EEG. They're not measuring EEG. See what I mean? And also when I see all these people trying to measure emotions by the coherence of the frontal, left and right, that's not true. I've seen many things, and the emotions are produced below the cortex, not in the cortex.
All right. You can see the question direct to you.
There is another question from our WhatsApp message, and I can read for you how they match the changes on the high charge and the video of the environment.
I don't. How do they what?
How they match the changes on the high charge and the video of the environment. I don't know.
I don't know if I understand correct, but many people ask, when you are doing measures in a store or in different environments, how can you see if the changes that you're measuring are related?
It means positive and negative.
Positive and negative, maybe.
Positive and negative, probably. Surely.
But as I was saying, some of the people, when asked, they say, when you are in a store or in an environment, how can you tell if the information is of the brain or of the people and not of the environment? And how can you know when it's environment related? Or when you place electrodes on a person, and these electrodes, maybe the person has panic, or the other likes when you place electrodes. So the way that we do it is scientifically. And how do we do it? We start recording what we call a baseline. And then we expose the people to the stimuli. We are also measuring the stimuli, and then we keep on measuring after the stimuli. When we have these three moments in the data, then we only compare this to the baseline, so the people become its own control, something that you don't do in traditional marketing. So here you can precisely know when the people that you are measuring, it's related, the changes are related to the group.
Yeah. I have another question, but it's not so technical, but my interest in learning. In your experience, you have found a model to measure how people can improve their knowledge, or the quantity of learning, which is the metrics that you use to measure the learning. Is it intelligence or knowledge or memorization? So I think that could be interesting to know how do you measure the improvement of learning? Is there some specific metrics that you have found?
Well, one way of responding is when you asked psychologists 15 or 20 years ago, how do you measure intelligence? They will tell you, because if you are very high in mathematics or in the analysis processes, then you are very intelligent. Then intelligent definition changed a little bit, and then people start speaking about emotional intelligence, which means if you combine intuition with cognition. As that's the new thing with Kahneman, etc. So if you combine the intuition with analysis, then you are more intelligent. And now with my model of the neuropyramid, I can tell you that if you can measure all the steps, and if you improve all the steps, then you will become more intelligent. That's what I am making in neuroeducation, because I am trying to improve attention. I am trying to improve the sensory activation. I am trying to improve emotions, the cognition. And this is one of the main parts of the neuropyramid, because it will change the way people think. We humans are thinking that everything is cause related. One thing produces the next. And this doesn't happen with the brain. The brain is systems. It's steps of systems. That one makes the next step. So attention produces some kind of product. Then this product is being processed by the sensory. Then the sensory is being processed by the emotion. Then the emotion is being processed by cognition. And
very interesting.
What you get into memory is not only the ideas or the emotions, it's all together.
All together, yeah.
We have to start thinking not in a cause-effect thing, because, and so the neuropyramid allows you to do that. Because in neuromarketing, many people are only measuring emotions, only measuring attention, only measuring time. And then they go into conclusions, which for me, it's not the way to do it.
I agree. I agree with you. I agree with you, and I think that the model is very, very interesting to, and we have to read your book. Absolutely.
And it's in Spanish and in English.
But we could also think in Italian version.
We can make a translation in Italian.
Italian version.
I will be glad to do it. Yes. Now I have 3 books. One is this one, which is for neuromarketing. Another one is the manual of the neuropyramid, so people can read about it and understand the machinery of the mind. And the third one, which is the neuroeducation, which is
it's very interesting. Jaime, thank you very much.
Thank you,
Jaime. It has been an honor for us to have you here in Neuromarathon, and we hope that next time we will ask you to present your book and to our Italian audience. And thank you very much for joining us and to celebrate with us 20 years of neuromarketing. Thank you very much.
And thank you for your work.
And just for a last thing, you can download the book free in neuropyramide.com. I'm going to send it here. So that's where you can download the book and distribute it freely to anyone who would like to read it. Thank you. Thank you for your
Thank you very
much.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Have a nice day.
Bye-bye. Hasta luego.
Hasta luego. Hasta luego. Bye bye.